Hi everyone, it's Rebecca from the CodeWords team. Today we're going to run through how to build a simple workflow automation and also how to build a more complex workflow automation with CodeWords. CodeWords is the simplest way for anyone to build workflow automations without writing any code or needing technical configuration and setup. You can either start from a template or build from scratch, and you can even export the code without having to write any of it. Today I'm going to walk you through a simple workflow automation that analyzes your competitors' websites and generates insights that you can use for your sales or marketing positioning. So it's really easy to get started. You can either click New Chat up in the top left, or you can start typing from the chat box in front of you. And all you need to do to get started is type in your prompt in the box. Once you've typed in your prompt, you hit send. And Cody, our AI workflow assistant, will start building your automation for you. So what will happen first is Cody will generate a graph visualization of your workflow. The difference here is that you haven't had to drag and drop or configure these nodes. It's simply produced for you. You'll then be asked some clarifying questions from Cody. So in this case, I'm happy with all of this. So yes, let's build it. You'll also be asked whether you want to build first and test later or test as you go. So Cody actually does all of the testing and debugging for you for this workflow. And it doesn't matter which one of these you choose, but in this case, I'm just going to say, yeah, test as we go. The next thing that will happen is Cody will generate a to-do list for you, which allows you to see how far through the building process Cody is. As you can see, Cody is going to use Firecrawl to scrape websites, and that's the current step. Once that's been completed, Cody will move to the next step, which is building the initial workflow for web scraping. So throughout this process, Cody will also be writing the code for you. As you can see at the top, if you click the code bar, you can scroll through all of the code that Cody has written for you. Once Cody's happy with how everything's running and everything's been debugged for you, Cody will deploy the workflow. And at that point, you'll get some nice CodeWords confetti. So as you can see, Cody's also updated the workflow nodes so that all of the steps are now captured accurately. So Cody would now like to test the workflow. And I've been asked to give 2 to 5 competitor website URLs that we'd like to test it with. For this example, I'm actually going to use Notion and ClickUp's websites. You'll then see that Cody is actively testing this workflow for you, and you can see which node is currently running. So as you can see now, as part of this test, I've been given the analysis. Cody's produced the strengths, gaps of each tool, and also given me a recommended strategy, as well as some sample sales messaging. I've now just been asked to confirm that I'm happy with this, and in this case, yes, I'm happy. So I've now been given a link that will take me straight to the run page that's been made for me. So if I open this link, it will take me straight to my competitor website analyzer workflow. From here, I can manually run this workflow. I can add specific focus areas, for example, if I want to focus on their pricing page and their pricing strategy. And then I simply add the competitor URLs that I want to analyze in that case. I can also set a schedule so that this runs automatically whenever I ask it to. And if I wanted to, I could also add a trigger. So I'd go back to edit the workflow with Cody via the chat, and I could trigger this workflow when something specific happens. For example, when a new feature is launched, I can be given updated messaging. So now that we've built our simple version of this workflow automation, we can easily edit, extend it, and add more complexity. There are a couple of ways you can edit a workflow. You can either find your conversation with Cody in recent chats over here, head to the history section where you can also view your recent chats, or you can simply click on the workflow template, click edit workflow, and you'll be put straight back into the chat with Cody. If you know that you'd like to extend your workflow but don't know in what way, you can also ask Cody to give you some simple options to customize it. In this case, I actually already know what I want to do, and I want to set up a trigger so that whenever a new feature or new launch is detected on one of the websites, I'm automatically sent a Slack message with a summary of this change. So I've just typed that in to the chat box, and I'm just going to press enter. So once again, Cody will start by visualizing the workflow in its current format. And as you can see, all of the code from that workflow has also been put back here. So Cody will also now ask me a few more questions to make sure that these changes are implemented correctly. As you can see, the first one is which Slack channel should receive the website change notifications. So if I go into my Slack, as you can see, I've set up one specifically for this called Competitor Marketing Sites. And all I need to do so that Cody can detect this is invite CodeWords to this channel. So there we go. I've added CodeWords. So I can tell Cody that this is the channel name. And actually, I only want this to run every week because then I can receive a weekly update. So Cody's then going to revisualize this workflow. And as you can see, it's added a part about Slack so that whenever a change is detected, it sends that information in. Cody's now redeployed this workflow in its current state with the new changes. And it's also made some updates to the graph. So let's test this again with one of the URLs. So we're going to use the Notion one. And as you can see, Cody is testing this again for me. And then Cody's asked me again if I'd like to set up the weekly monitoring, which, yeah, I would. And then just to make sure, I'm also going to ask Cody to test the Slack connection. I've already set up my Slack connection for other workflows. So I've clicked on it. As you can see, it's connected. If you had to connect to Slack, you'd simply click the connect button and within a couple of clicks, you'll have set it up so that it's linked. But in this case, the connection should already work. So I'm going to ask Cody to test it so that when something is detected as a change on the Notion website, I can see the format of the message that I'll receive into my Slack channel. So I've just asked Cody to send me a test. So it's saying it sent a test message successfully. So let's check if this is the case. It sent me a hypothetical message for how this would look. And it's established that it's found a couple of significant updates. For example, this is just dummy data, but on the Notion website and on the Airtable website. So everything's working perfectly. So Cody's going to redeploy it as the new version. And as you can see, CodeWords confetti, which means it's been deployed. And CodeWords is summarizing what's changed and also giving me the format that it will arrive in Slack when there's a change detected. So because this is running every week and checking for changes before it messages me in Slack, it will have set up a schedule in scheduled runs. If I want to continue making changes to this workflow, I can carry on chatting to Cody here and keep developing it out. For example, maybe I want to detect changes on the pricing page and see how their pricing is changing over time. Or maybe once I've received a few alerts in Slack over a few weeks, I want to detect any trends that are going on. So I can ask Cody to analyze the data and provide me perhaps monthly insights into what changes are being made over time. And that's how easy it is to develop your existing simple workflow and make it into a more complex workflow with either schedules or triggers.